These days, WWE love to tout their impressive YouTube numbers as one of their new media buzzword-riddled business metrics. The financial impact of our Google overlord for WWE is relatively small compared to deals of the TV and Saudi variety, but that doesn't mean there isn't a lot to be gained from taking a more in-depth look at the most popular videos on WWE's YouTube channel. For starters, it tells us what us fans want to see from their product, or at least why WWE give us what they think we want. And having now taken that look, I think it's time we discussed a few trends. Fun fact, if you do this same search on this very channel, 7 of our top 10 videos are Adam's fantasy bookings, which I think means you want to see more actually good videos from me. It's okay, audience, I hear you. I am Luke Owen, hailing from partsFUNknown, and these are the 10 most viewed WWE YouTube videos as of May 2022. Why not help this video be the most viewed video on this channel by subscribing to it? I think that's how YouTube works. Number 10, Rey Mysterio vs. the Great Khali, 145 million views. Wow, that many people have collectively watched World Champion Rey Mysterio get squashed and pinned in 3 minutes, eh? This match took place on the May 12, 2006 edition of SmackDown, right in the middle of JBL's very thinly veiled racism run against Mysterio. You know, like taking the thinnest veil you can find and then making it thinner to the point of transparency. And really, there isn't much to it. Khali throws Rey around the ring a couple of times, then JBL beats him up and lets Khali hit a tree slam. It's a stark reminder of just how poorly WWE booked Ray once he won the belts. So why many views on this video? Maybe people wanted to remind themselves that something like this did in fact actually happen. Maybe they thought it was a different match. Maybe everyone just clicked of it because of that thumbnail. Look at Ray, he's literally half the size of that man. But the reality is, as we'll see in the next video, number 9, 20-man Battle Royal for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship, 146 million views. And that is that lots of WWE's views of videos come from India. This is the Battle Royal where Khali won the belt and then held it upside down like he's a bigger, less good version of David Arquette. But this is the Great Khali, an Indian-born wrestler winning the company's, albeit second, top title on, albeit their second-tier show. It's a great moment if you're from India, where I would wager most of these views have come from. SmackDown went through some tough times in 06 and 07 with their world championships needed to be vacated due to injury, with new champions being crowned in surprise battle royals. The 2006 one saw Kurt Angle win. That's really good, but it's not on this list though, because that only has a paltry 3.2 million views. But this 2007 edition? Yeah, gimme them clicks. The popularity of these two videos explains things like Satnam Singh in AEW, TNA's Ring Car King project, or WWE's push of Jinder Mahal in 2017. There is a market for wrestling in India. There's clearly a hunger and appetite for it. Look at these numbers. It's just that no one has been able to crack it yet. And maybe, just maybe, that's because they keep making the big Indian stars to appeal to the big Indian market the bad guys that everyone boos. Number 8, every Goldberg match since his return, 147.1 million views. And this is the reason WWE keep bringing back Goldberg. Congratulations, you lot, it's your fault he beat The Fiend. This is the first video of its kind to appear on this list, as it's one of WWE's playlist videos. It's not like YouTube's playlist videos, where a series of videos play one after the other. This is one giant long video that, like Ronsil, does exactly what it says on the tin. It's all of Goldberg's matches since his return up until a couple of years ago, and most of them are played in their entirety, which is mostly because a lot of Goldberg matches can fit into the space of a TikTok. You get all of the Survivor Series match, the Royal Rumble, and basically all of his 21 seconds with Kevin Owens from 2017. But Goldberg's WrestleMania 33 match with Brock Lesnar is edited down, showing only the second half of the already short match. Then you realize how self-aware WWE's video editors are, as only 30 seconds of the Undertaker match is shown before closing with Gork cutting Dolph Ziggler in half in what is still the best use of Bullet Bill's services since his return. It stops there, so this must have been used to promote Goldberg ahead of Super Showdown 2020. If only they knew what was to come. And just remember, folks, it's all your fault. Number 7, Braun Strowman vs. Bobby Lashley arm wrestling match, 147.5 million views. We often make jokes here that WWE only puts on arm wrestling matches on Raw because it's Vince McMahon's favorite category on Pornhub, and they like to make him come like Veer Mahan. But the reality is that sometimes, and it's more common than you'd think, arm wrestling videos do massive numbers on YouTube. This video was only from a few years ago, June 2019 in fact, but it has nearly 150 million views. And if you stretch this list out to look at the top 15 videos on WWE's YouTube channel, number 13 is John Cena vs. Mark Henry in an arm wrestling contest with 131 million views. They even have a playlist for it, so you can be like Vinnie Mac in your own time with your own personal Vinnie Jack session. Personally, I don't see the appeal of arm wrestling contests, let alone worked arm wrestling contests, but you cannot argue with their popularity on the platform. Maybe I should challenge Adam Blompier to an arm wrestling contest, and we'll also make it a booking video. 100 million views, here we come! Number 6, John Cena, Batista, and Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and The Big Show. Tribute to the Troops 2008, 158 million views. The popularity of this video is right there in the title. Look at all those names! I have two big takeaways from this video though, the first of which is WWE's watermark is in the top right corner instead of the bottom left corner, and I cannot stop staring at it. The second of which is the title of this video lists Chris Jericho and The Big Show as Jeri-Show, despite the fact them not debuting as a team until the following year. Boy, I hope someone got fired for that blunder. As for the match itself, you had the 2002 crew of Cena, Batista, and Rey Mysterio leading the charge on behalf of Good and Righteous, while fellow 2002 dude Randy Orton teamed up with the yet-to-be-formed Jeri-Show, who were stars of the previous era. Over half of the video's length is dedicated to just the entrances, and then they show about half of the actual match, because who wants to watch stupid wrestling, am I right? With Orton and Jericho eating a double 619 as Orton took an AA and Jericho takes a BB. It's fun stuff. Number 5, John Cena and AJ Lee kiss after Cena's victory over Dolph Ziggler, 167 million views. And now here is my first piece of evidence, Your Honor, that these views are all from dirty perverts. After my in-depth look at WWE's YouTube page, I have determined that WWE fans love three things: The Great Khali, arm wrestling, and kissing. The 15th biggest video on WWE's YouTube channel is a playlist of unexpected kisses, the 17th biggest is surprising smooches, and the 24th looks like Undertaker is about to lay a kiss down on Brock Lesnar. This video specifically gives you the end of a John Cena vs. Dolph Ziggler match where AJ Lee stopped Vicky Guerrero from interfering and Cena dodged a briefcase shot into the Cena wins LOL for Cena to win LOL. After we're done with that boring ass wrestling nonsense though, we get to the real main event that the sickos clicked for, as the crazy ass AJ Lee character waited for Cena to finish celebrating so she could plant a big old smooch on him. Cena has never really done a convincing job of appearing human, so I don't know if this is just how he kisses, but he didn't look down to clown.
Is this what you humans call love? Hustle, loyalty, respect. Beep boop.
Number 4, Stephanie McMahon is furious with Roman Reigns, 182 million views. Considering that the long-term belief that McMahon's equal ratings, which explains the absolute cluster main event of WrestleMania 2000, this is the first video on our top 10 to feature a McMahon. But don't worry folks, there is another. But even if you scroll to the top 30, the top 40, the McMahons feature so lightly in WWE's most watched videos on YouTube. So, which iconic McMahon moment did crack the top 10? It's me, Austin, the bedpan, the name on the contract reads Shane, Linda taking a stunner, Trips and Steph getting married, Shane O'Mac's sweaty return, or any of his sweaty falls? No, it's Stephanie McMahon yelling at Roman Reigns in a random episode of Raw and then slapping him. 182 million views? How the did this happen? Did this just accidentally fall into the YouTube algorithm and get suggested to literally every single YouTube user, kind of like Simon Gotch burying Enzo Amore? I'm not gonna click that video, YouTube, leave me alone, suggest me more OSW videos. Look, I don't really know what we can learn from this video other than the authority storyline sucked. Number 3, John Cena and Brock Lesnar get into a brawl that clears the entire locker room, 211 million views. In a more traditional pro wrestling segment, John Cena and Brock Lesnar engaged in a classic pull-apart brawl on Raw in 2012. This was 1 week after Lesnar returned to Raw to F5 John Cena, and now Gian wanted to take a bite out of Brock and ended up with an insanely bloody mouth as a result. Most of the roster was out there to try and keep these two separate, and this was a huge segment to build to a match with a ton of casual interest, and that is shown by this clip garnering 211 million views and spells out something quite clearly. Two big stars with two big names in one small ring equals dem clicks. Thankfully, no one appears to have watched the video that shows what happened next when John Cena beat Brock Lesnar in his return match, which still might be the dumbest booking decision since John Cena beat the Nexus in their first big match. This is why no one liked you, John. Beep boop. Number 2, WWE Top 10 Stunning In-Ring Proposals, 218 million views. This isn't wrestling, friend. This is sports entertainment, pal. No more clear is that than when we get the 2 top entries on this list. The first of which is a video of in-ring proposals led with the now rather awkward thumbnail of John Cena proposing to Nikki Bella at Mania that one time. Beep boop. I'd put money on that a lot of these views are a crossover audience with Total Divas who want to see the big romantic point of the show. It also means that they'd probably click off the rest of the video once they've seen that bit, as the rest of it is a who's who of who gives a f***. 218 million views to see classic moments shared between the likes of Oksana and Goldust, Rusev and Summer Rae, Billy and Chuck, AJ Lee and Daniel Bryan, and AJ Lee and Paul Heyman. There is probably the promise of smooching in this video, as well as pie and punch, and that might explain why it's done so well. And speaking of smooching, number 1, Randy Orton makes it personal with Triple H, 302 million views. You dirty perverts. Yeah, the title of this video doesn't lie. Randy Orton sure does make it personal with Triple H, because this is the segment where Randy Orton kisses an unconscious Stephanie McMahon. Why has this video been viewed so many times? Like nearly 100 million more than the video in second place. And the answer is quite simple. This isn't about the stars. This isn't about the angle. This isn't even about smooching. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect example of perfect title and perfect thumbnail. Look at this thumbnail. Triple H looks worried. Randy Orton is on his hands. Stephanie's in the foreground and on the ground. It asks so many questions, and you have to click into the video to find out what it all means. Trips is even doing a YouTube face. Couple that with the title of Randy Orton makes it personal, and boom, dem clicks. I'd place money on the fact that many of these views aren't even wrestling fans. Or maybe it's just because you're all dirty perverts and wanted to see Randy Orton make out with an unconscious woman, all to build up one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time, you dirty sicko perverts. So in conclusion, be sure to tune into NXT 3.0 next year, where the great Carly will arm wrestle John Cena and then they kiss for an hour, because it's what you want, you dirty sick pervert. And that's our list. Why not try and make this the most watched video on our YouTube channel by sharing it with your friends and clicking the old thumbs up button? Other YouTube stuff. Also, there's videos on screen that you can watch too. I've been Luke Owen. Jam that jam.